Yeah.
You came for a podcast. You got a interesting drink.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's all about the podcastitality or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Podcastitality.
Podcastitality. I like that term. I
can leave it there.
I might keep that.
Well, so welcome to KCene. Welcome to the podcast. And we have Dandelion Lakewood here with us. What a treat. You consider yourself a wandering bard of Kansas City, multi-instrumentalist, audio engineer, like we were just kind of like talking about. So we kind of like, we've been diving into your music, and you have such an eclectic array of like I kind of talked to you whenever you came in, like you really dive into different genres and styles, and specifically the one that really stuck out to Vader and I was this one called The Longest Night. And when we first heard it, I mean, it's 8 minutes long, and like it's definitely like I don't know.
Yeah.
It really, like, I listened to it and I was like, this is what I felt like when I was on shrooms once. And so we wanted to talk about just like your creative process in general, like how do you make music, like
well, and also to just talk about Longest Night, for me, like I felt like it was like movie soundtrack-ish.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was like supposed to like take you to, like there was a story behind it. There was a place it was supposed to take you to, right? Cool. And so like I was like, I've got to ask, like, what was the process on that? How'd we get there?
Well, I mean, okay, so that's the B side, obviously. That's not the sing. It's on the single for my song "Dropping Leaf, Setting Sun."
Yes,
which is a song about beginnings and endings, and I released that on the solstice, the winter solstice. So the longest night is the winter solstice. So the longest, and that was, I did not write that piece of music with that title in mind. I just was doing a lot of experiments. I record a lot of stuff, especially improvisations in my studio, because I have some songs that I wrote, but it's really precious to work on a song that I've been playing and singing for a long time and to try to make the definitive version. Yeah. So when I get stuck on that, or I don't want to mess with those things in that time and I want to be creative, I just improvise. So I set up my equipment in different ways, and I'll have a configuration for a while that I'm working with, and I'll do a few different things, and then maybe switch the configuration and I'll do more, and I just always have it ready to go and record, so I can just sit down and do something. And that was one of those experiments. I was I think I had recorded just a small bit of acoustic guitar into my DAW, which is Ableton Live, and I've been using Ableton Live since like 2003, something like that.
Wow.
So I've been using it since version 3.
Wow.
That was a cracked version, and then I had the cracked version of 4, and then it discovered it was cracked, and I couldn't access my files, so then I ended up buying it on the student discount, and then I've upgraded.
Student discount.
Yeah,
she's like $200 or something.
I think it was $300 at the time.
Yeah,
I just like it's not cheap to buy all out, but over time it's definitely been a good investment for me because I know that software. I know a lot of people use other things, FL Studio or Pro Tools or Studio One or Reaper or Logic. GarageBand.
Ableton is a solid DAW. I would say like Ableton and Pro Tools are. I've heard a lot of people say like Logic is kind of a it's like the next step above GarageBand.
It is. Yeah,
no, that's connected.
Yeah. I mean,
so as a former Apple employee here, yes, Logic and GarageBand are very much related. Yeah. Like Logic, of course, was there first, and then they just stripped it down and said, "Here's GarageBand." You can do a lot with it, but definitely, like, there are other DAWs out there that are more feature built.
Yeah.
It's only $200 for Live, which is a really great deal compared to Ableton. I mean, getting Live, the full on suite, can be like $800 or something. I think. I mean, with all of the add-ons with Max for Live and all the really wonderful additions it has.
And to be fair, what they were trying to do with Logic was it was supposed to be a framework. So, like, it's supposed to just be the base, and you can go get plugins from anywhere, and then you can make it what you want. Right. So, like, if you are somebody that is into the tech and you are willing to go ahead and do a little bit of extra research and put the work into it, Logic can do everything all the others are doing.
Yeah.
The difference is, if you want to buy something and have everything already there, like, a good analogy would be like, hey, I bought this desk and it already has my pens, my paper. It's got everything I need on it. Or I bought this desk and it's in a box and I have to build it. And then I have to still go buy pencils and paper and all that stuff.
Yeah. Live has so many great built-in effects. I think that's what I loved it. I was like, wow, what's this granular delay? I remember when I first was using it and I would just like put heavy, long reverb tails on everything and granular delays and ping pong. I put like 3 different delays in one. It was a mess. And but it was fun. And the effects, which a lot of them were designed by Robert Henke, who performs under the name Mono Lake, who's a really talented electronic musician and also software engineer. He and Gerhard Beles, they co-founded the company Ableton. Based on stuff they prototyped in Max MSP for their music with Mono Lake, where they were basically like using Max. Well, it was even before Max MSP. It was Max, which was just a MIDI sequencing like a graphical algorithmic language that you could use to create like really random weird MIDI sequences. So they're using that to control their hardware synths. And then MSP came out, which was the audio portion of Max. And then they stepped in and started making Live to record the audio clips from their music and then be able to arrange it and stuff. And then they started adding the effects and then they added MIDI instruments in version 4. I mean, it's crazy where they've gone. Sometimes it really frustrates me though. I know Pro Tools has some shortcuts that are amazing. I know Reaper does. Like I saw someone use Reaper and they like highlighted a clip and then they just deleted all the silences in one command. And I was just like, dang. Reaper seems pretty. Everyone who's good at something, if you know it, it's the thing that you need to use. If you know GarageBand really well, maybe you want Logic, but I mean, Logic is great.
Well, when you find your way around a program, like and you master it, then you can really make it your bitch. Like it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't really matter what you're using. Once you figure it the fuck out, then you should be fine. So like, you're talking about how you're an audio engineer and you're clearly super educated about that. And then you were talking about how you practice every single day and like you have like, well, that's more than a lot of people. So I was talking
in like 11 years. Okay?
Well, I was talking to Sydney from the Rhino. They do sound there, and they're like, yeah, we've had some bands like rehearse right before their show, like come in and practice like for the first time in like a month and a half. Whoa. I'm like, whoa. So props to you, like you're like keeping up the chops. But like, I really want to understand the bard. the bard aspect. Where did this come from? Because when you hear bard, I think Dungeons and Dragons. I think
Renaissance Festival.
Renaissance Festival.
Well, yeah, it did start from D&D. Funnily enough, I was
amazing.
I had a character who was a halfling bard in a campaign of my friend. This was back in in 2010, 2011, something like that. And yeah, that was my character, and I ended up becoming this bard somehow. Like, I decided instead of just LARPing in the game, I would just LARP my life. And I went pretty out there because it just started slowly accumulating. I went on these bardic adventures. Like, I was in a long-term relationship that ended when I turned 30, and then it was really nice that it ended because we were really not meant to be together, but we were really good friends. So it was hard to break up because we supported each other in our art, but we also it wasn't meant to be. So it was really good when we broke up. Like, I think we just actually loved each other a bit more after we were not together. It was like, yeah, that's great. Now we can have affinity again because we're not together. And I remember start going on these music tours with friends and started going on these adventures of touring and learning how to play my music around. And then I ended up going on a vacation outside of the country where I thought it was going to be 2 months, and then it ended up turning into 8 years. And it was 8 years of travel without a job, without large amount of savings. I basically had $600 or $700 at the beginning of the trip, and I spent almost half of it to buy an amplifier for my guitar when I landed in Portugal, in Lisbon. And then I started learning how to be a street musician, and I ran out of money, and I was like, well, I was accused, maybe rightfully, of being a bagpacker because I had a GoFundMe page to help support me on my trip because I didn't have money. I was working part-time at a school. I didn't have a full-time job. I wanted to travel. And it was really hard to have the money to do that. Mm-hmm. So I did ask the internet if anyone wanted to donate. And I did get some donations. I got quite a bit over a period of maybe 1 to 2 years. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, I would just run out of money, get somewhere. I mean, I had my money, and then by the time I got to Barcelona, I had no money, and I started sleeping in the forest. And I remember, like, one of the first nights I slept out in this park in my hammock, and this family of pigs came the next day, and I threw them a baguette, and then these wild pigs, and I was really scared, but I threw them a baguette, and then they came down and they hung out with me with their little babies. And, I started this adventure where I'm sleeping out in parks and just basically really became a hobo for a period of 8 years. A very lucky, privileged hobo because I didn't have to do it. I chose it, so I wasn't thrown into that situation. I wanted to see how long I could go. But as a street musician, I developed. When I went to Ireland the first time, I remember one day I got like 50 euros around Christmas for playing in the street, and I was like, wow, this is like, I'm doing it. It's happening. And I really was able to get by without having to have much money even through that because I was very savvy about learning how to be a volunteer places, be a very helpful person, had all kinds of different experiences on that road. I met plenty of other bards, and when I start to really think of that, like the bardic way and the bardic adventure as this calling where you're a storyteller, you're a songwriter, you're going around and experiencing the world and interpreting it with music and with song and with words and poetry, and then sharing that with others. And the magic that you have when you're in that mode is that you can go in a place and then all these people will see that's what you're doing and they want to assist. When you're putting yourself out there on a very thin line, I have a phrase that I like to say that you have this golden parachute, but it doesn't open until you jump out of the airplane. Mm-hmm. So when you commit to going on this journey, even when I don't have everything prepared, I'm not completely prepared, but you also don't want to be a drag on people because that sucks. Right. And I've done that. At the beginning, I had to learn really hard lessons about people will give you hospitality and they'll overextend it, and it's easy to take everything. And that's very parasitic. So I learned quickly on not to be a parasite and how to offer something. And a lot of times it was music and song or being a friend that could... I had so many times I would stay with someone who would tell me all the secrets of their life because they knew I wouldn't ruin it with their friends, I would keep it. And offering advice, listening.
You kind of became a therapist at that point, right? Like
I can't use that language.
Yeah, not actually, but like you know what I mean. Like the friend that they tell everything to, they're asking advice and everything. I mean, like obviously therapists, you guys have your degrees and everything like that. But
don't sue me.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. But you actually got to take the whole like bardic experience and really like do it in Europe even. Like, we're not even just talking about, like, here in the States. Like, you got to go to another continent and, like, actually do it.
You've lived a life of 1,000 moons in such a short amount of time that very few people have the balls to
right.
to even try.
I didn't.
But you did.
But you did it. I thought it was going to be for 2 months.
You hooked it.
And then I had a job waiting for me back, but they contacted me and they said, "Sorry, it was a school and it was summertime." So after midsummer, they're like, "Your job is eliminated because you were the newest employee added."
Oh my God!
Well, I'm just gonna join this rock and roll freak show carnival in Switzerland, and that's what I did for a
1,000 moons.
Yeah, wait, that was a whole other section we hadn't even gotten to yet.
Touch of the Switzerland.
That didn't last long, but it was very interesting.
That's crazy.
You could be on a podcast for 1,000 moons. You could talk about all of your experiences. I like that is crazy because you walked in here.
Your own podcast talking about
you do.
That's what I was gonna say. Say I'm pretty sure I had seen that you do have one.
I have one. It's called Voice Seeker, and it's a real slow burner. I only release 4 episodes a year on the equinoxes and the solstices. So really, really chill.
I like
one
that.
every 3 months. I'm really bad at promoting it regularly, and I would like to get better at like making short form social media, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff in these conversations. And it started off like audio. I asked people to send me audio clips like in Instagram or just sound recordings.
Yeah.
And I would edit those and do storytelling with that, and I would record some of my going around in the States. It started getting really long. I'd have these episodes that were like three hours long. And now I'm doing more like having a Zoom call with a friend that I've met, especially someone I met on my travels, and talking about things. And that's a little bit more tenable, like to have a conversation.
For sure.
The editing, it was really fun. I mean, some of those older episodes of my podcast are so interesting as like, there's all this sound art, like music that I made that is never released, these like ambient music tracks, and they're really like, I put a lot of energy, but it was too much. Even for once every 3 months, it was like an overload. So now it's easier. It's easier just to talk and then clean it up.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Like this is technically like the 3rd/4th iteration of KCene as a podcast too. Like the way we did it for season 1 was completely different from how we are like now.
Yeah,
and I've been the one editing it since the beginning, and yeah, definitely in the beginning it was a lot of fun the way we did it, but it was a headache to edit.
What do you edit with?
I use Final Cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So talking about being former Apple employee, I know that software really well.
Yeah.
I know how to use several video editing softwares, but that one is the most comfortable for me.
Make it a bitch. Make it your bitch.
Yep.
Make it your bitch.
Most comfortable, and like just in terms of the features that they have, like I can do beat detection. So like if I'm making intros or anything, it can find all the beats, and then I can just go, this scene's going to be right here, and it finds where it should fit to just be in sync, and then I just have to add transitions. Yeah,
that's
and I'm like,
cool.
That's amazing for me.
I use DaVinci Resolve.
That's a really good software. I learned on that first, and then learned Final Cut after, and I was like, I know that DaVinci can do more out of the box. Like, I have to go get more plugins and everything for Final Cut to make it work. But I went and found the plugins, and I was like, it renders faster for me.
Yeah.
And it's a faster workflow for me than DaVinci, having to have like all the different controllers. Like, if that makes sense.
DaVinci, it's like I love it because it's just this free software. I mean, of course, the paid version has even more cool stuff, but it's it's like there's some things that are very counterintuitive to me about it that I'm like, why is it like this? And and sometimes just move, like I'm so used to like doing things in the Ableton, like copying and duplicating clips, and then the shortcuts are so different with DaVinci. Yeah, but I mean, but it's like I know that one the best, but I don't want to have to start over.
Yeah. Ableton's actually closer to like the way you can copy clips and things like that of like sound.
Yeah,
that directly translates to like how you would do video in Final Cut.
Okay,
and so like
interesting.
That's where like for me like it's a lot easier to edit. And then even when I'm taking like a video podcast format like what we're doing right now, and then I want to go ahead and edit the audio or just strip the audio from the video. Well, Final Cut has all the power of Logic built into it.
Okay, so for audio editing, it has the Logic.
It's got the DAW built into.
Nice.
So I can go ahead and I can do everything all at once instead of using two separate softwares.
Yeah. Well, DaVinci has that Fairlight section, which is pretty developed, I would say. Like, I mean, I was impressed with it actually. Like, if a person didn't have a DAW at their disposal and they wanted one, they could just get DaVinci and use the Fairlight, and it would be like very full-featured.
That's free.
So, but yeah, I mean, Logic.
Yeah. Well, so
nerd stuff.
Not to, you guys could talk about DAWs all day. I feel like I can talk about all the nerd. I am not the tech one for sure. I do like the short form content, like Canva, like doing like graphic design. That's my bread and butter.
Okay.
But talking about like Kansas City, we're a Kansas City local podcast. We're Kansas City centered, and you got your start doing music in Kansas City, and of course, like you traveled out of the country and you performed and did street performance. But you started KC. Like I wanted to ask you about the Bowl of Dust and Company, like your DIY ethos. What are your favorite local spots? Like how has Kansas City as a whole changed your sound, influenced your sound as a performer?
Yeah, so my musical journey, I was like really into electronic music in university, and I was studying mathematics and wanted to do all this computer music. Then I came back. I was at K-State, and then I came back to Kansas City after that because my family's from here. I didn't live here my whole life, but a lot, I like on and off, and like in high school and beyond. And I came back after school, and I got a job at this mortgage company, and it was in like 2008. 2000.
Oh no!
Right
during the collapse.
Not during the collapse.
It was in
right
2000. Around 2006, end of 2006. It was like the beginning of that collapse. It was a subprime lender called Novastar, and I worked for them. And I was an instructional designer. I was real scruffy and weird, so not corporate. It was so weird. But they were paying me like the most money I think I've still ever even been paid. And I was like getting that money, And I felt this is a weird job. And I was writing all this training content for sales where they're like, a balloon mortgage and a no-doc loan where they don't have to show you any documentation. And these are called adjustable rate mortgages. Really savvy people will use those, and they'll buy it on the low interest rate, and then they'll flip the house before it goes to the high interest rate.
Real estate is so fishy.
It is so fishy.
I used to also be like, I worked for a lender company.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, it's super, super sketch.
Like, this seems wrong. This seems like payday.
It seems a little legal.
Stuff.
It seems like we should probably have someone
it
put a
seems like
microscope.
there's a reason that it collapsed.
They had separate corporations with different names underneath them. One was targeted toward elderly people. One was targeted towards black people, and one was targeted towards Latino people. And their whole MO was to take people with a stable fixed rate mortgage and trick them and entice them to use a subprime adjustable rate mortgage to refinance and then be able to like do their bathroom or something. So many people lost their houses because of these hucksters. And the guys working in the sales were like most predatory people. They had no scruples about it. They didn't care. They were just pushing sales. All they cared about was sales and commission.
Yep.
They were ruthless. They just didn't give a rat's ass. It was really eye-opening. It was so concerning to me. And I remember just hating it but liking the money. Then they let me go because I basically quit because it was just terrible. And then I started writing folk music, and I immediately started writing songs about like finance companies and debt and usury. I was all in on it. I just, my mind opened up. And I mean, watching what happened with, that crash, I was just watching it burn. I was like, yep, they were part of it. I knew it. I saw it. And so I wrote a lot of songs, like protest songs about that at the early age. And I wasn't going by, I didn't have that bowl of dust at that time. Mm-hmm. But I started in Kansas City. I was writing those songs. I had some friends in Chicago from university who they moved to Chicago after, and they're like, come up here. So I did. And then at that time, I started getting more plugged in with the Chicago music scene. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of developed this sound of being Bowl of Dust, where it was this. I was into electronic music, and then I went out to the nightclub too many times and took too many things at once, and I realized, this sucks. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to go out clubbing all the time and be in this industry where everyone's taking all kinds of drugs, and like, it just felt so wrong, and I just had a real bad experience one night of going out to the club and just feeling terrible about it. So I cut that all out, and I didn't want to do any more techno music, and I was like, I'm going to do acoustic music. And then I started, that's what Bowl of Dust kind of came out of. It was like my Dust Bowl set, and then it became Bowl of Dust. And then I had a band for a while, and then after a while, everyone kind of had their own other band, so it broke apart, and then I was just still performing Bowl of Dust as myself, or with like random people. And then then I just really decided to start going by Dandelion Lakewood as a solo act. And that was a big transformation for me to become Dandelion Lakewood. And Bowl of Dust was basically on hold. I would use it sometimes like in random places, but I start to think more Bowl of Dust is like my band, and Dandelion Lakewood is my bardic solo project. Mm-hmm. So when I play with my group now, I have a group now, and it's Bowl of Dust and Co. Mm-hmm. But it took a while, because it was kind of like this process where I had the group, and then I was just by myself, Bowl of Dust. But then I realized that like Bowl of Dust is more when I'm playing with people,
right?
And so that's kind of how I like to set it up. And then coming back to Kansas City, I returned here about 3.5 years ago, and I didn't know anyone, just playing out solo, which was fun. But like, I realized like having a group is just so nice, because you get energy.
Yeah.
And I met a drummer, Josh, and he just was like, he liked my music, and I was like, this is cool, you like it, and he was into it, so we practiced. And then he had some other bandmates from another project called Nucaro, where it's like Ben Nucaro, and he's this really guitar virtuoso who can play all these different styles, and he really likes like sludge metal, and he can also play country. He's really he's all over the place with guitars, like extremely talented. And Tall Paul, who's the bassist, and they were all playing in this group, and Tall Paul's just a whole other character. Like, I remember at their show for Nucaro at the Rhino, Paul was wearing what, I don't remember if it was Princess Peach or Princess Daisy, but one of the costumes from Mario, one of the princes. I think it was Princess Daisy.
I love that.
Handing out like
I love Tall Paul.
All this like literature about solidarity and mutual aid. It was really cool.
While he's like Daisy.
I love that.
That's great. I
love that.
So
you got a good group of people around you. That's good.
I'm really grateful, because they are really fun to play with, and they're so chill, and they're so supportive of my songwriting, and they really play well with what I've written, and I think they enjoy it too. So I just really want to be tender with those relationships, because I know how it is to be a band leader, and you get so precious with your material, and like you push it too hard with the others because you're pushing yourself. I think my first iteration of Bowl of Dust, like I was just really driven and a perfectionist, and I think that just became a drag to play with me after a while. And I think I know other friends have talked about having the same problems, and so like being really like being chill and being older, I think, helps too.
Does it make it easier having your own like solo project, being Dandelion Lakewood, and being able to like drive that and be like, this is like when I want to do something myself, that's what this is for.
Oh, yeah.
But then I want to do something with other people, and I want other people to have a say in it. That's the band. That's Bowl of Dust.
Yeah, because a lot of it comes down to booking too, because booking for people is it's exponentially harder than booking yourself. So Dandelion Lakewood can play a lot of gigs without having to talk to anyone else, which is great. And I love doing those solo gigs, and I've been leaning into it more. Playing with the band suddenly I started playing electric guitar because I was always acoustic, and then I got an electric. I had an electric guitar since I was like 13. I bought it with money from working in a summer camp, and I still had this like Fender Strat, and started playing that again. And I'm like, I need some effects, so I started getting all these delay pedals and things, and just getting real far out with guitar effects and amps, and getting the tube amps, and so. Then like solo, I was starting to play the acoustic more with delays and things, and start to incorporate some of the same vibes and getting more psychedelic sounds out of my acoustic. I always felt it was psychedelic, but having more effects and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how they feed each other. I mean, definitely, with my group, we've kind of jammed together. We'll come up with things sometimes spontaneously, but it's songs that I wrote already, and I have so many songs, so I just really want trying to get them out. I think it would be fun to do more, do more writing of stuff together, but it takes time. We've been playing together for about a year, and we're just getting really tight now. And I would like to do some recording of the songs that we've been doing, and then that would be fun, though. I mean, I think that it's neat to have that space and be collaborative and come up with things together. But I'm also. I mean, I'm not a tyrant of the songs, but I do have. It's like I'm really passionate to share these songs, and I think that they really do well with all the instrumentation that my friends have put together with it, and I'm really glad to hear it like that, because what they bring to it adds something. It's like, they're so good at like writing their arrangement parts, at coming up with stuff that fits right with what I'm doing. And that's a blessing, because I don't want to be a dictator and like be like, you play exactly this. It's more like, okay, I'm playing this, so like let's make sure we fit together, and then
Well, and I don't want to. I don't know what your creative process is. I've never been there physically, but I can attest. I can try to ease your mind. It seems like you're extremely self-aware, and in a band setting, like that's super important. It's like also keep yourself in check, keep the ego at the door, but at the same time share your heart. And I think that like you already thinking about these things, especially in a band setting, because I'm also in a band. It's very important, like to make sure that like you're considerate of the other people around you. And like if you have a good leader like yourself who is sure of what they want, but can also healthily communicate what they want, but also accept feedback and ask for that feedback and to like, put it there. I think that that's what really creates a beautiful project or product is like, like I only did this on acoustic guitar, this effect, and then all of a sudden I really like what you just did, like, and making it even more of an idea. That's what collaborating and having a band is so great, rather than just doing a solo thing, because you have so many different ideas and you get to create together. And especially like the energy that you can, like you talked about energy, having that on a stage is so powerful and fun.
Ring circus.
Right. Like, which you've already experienced once before. So,
on a different level.
On a different level. So like, you're talking about your band and you're talking about like all of your different influences, and you had brought up the winter solstice, talked about the equinox, like your inspiration as far as you as an artist, like how has Kansas City influenced your sound? And how is like, 'cause you talk a lot about nature and like isolation, hope and darkness, like personal reflection. How has both Kansas City shaped your music, as well as like how has your journey as a person with like everything that you've been through shaped you as a person? Because I think Kansas City is like almost the before, and then you've had like this rebirth as a person, like, and it's completely changed your sound. Like, how would you describe that transition?
Well, yeah, because so in my journeys, starting in Europe, and then I really made my way a lot over to the east, and I was in the Balkans quite a bit. I was also in Central Europe, like Czech Republic, Poland, made a lot of passes through that region, Balkans, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Serbia, Croatia, Albania, and also Turkey. And in Turkey, or Turkey, which is what they want to be called now, in Turkey, there is just this rich culture, and I got exposed to it through the Balkans because they have all of these artifacts from the Ottoman Empire, even in the music. And the music, especially the more, like once I started hearing the Bulgarian music and the Macedonian music, Serbian folk music, and the Turkish folk music, and the Kurdish folk music, and Iranian folk music, all of this folk music coming from that part of the world was just lit me up, and I got obsessed with learning about Turkish folk songs. I just made friends with people who knew these songs dearly. I made friends with these keepers of the folklore and collaborated with a lot of great artists, like my friends in this group Peria, who are from Macedonia. It's like a dark folk femme band. They're just amazing. They organize. We met in like busking on the street in Istanbul and organized rainbow gatherings together in the Balkans and just
that's awesome.
Play music on the street and they're so cool. And I would check out their music, Peria, and also my friend Metka, who is from Slovenia, and she and her partner Josef, they have a group Ispod Korenin. And they do all this folklore music too, and it's just so archaic and beautiful. And they wear these like traditional outfits, and they play these traditional instruments. And I mean, and in Turkey, there's just like so many amazing artists of very high caliber. There's all these Sufis there, and they have these Sufi gatherings with this really powerful music from this. He's deceased now, Ulrich Güvenç, who had formed this group called Tumata. And they were all about sound healing and using frequencies and using these like really ancient Central Asian songs and Turkish folk songs and doing sema, which is the spinning on the floor and this healing process. And his daughter is still like super on fire and leading groups. I mean, there's so many amazing musicians coming out of these scenes. Bulgaria, this one group, they're called Oratnica. They sing these traditional Bulgarian and Macedonian folk songs, and they're like, but they have a didgeridoo with a slide, so it's playing like a dubstep bass, and then they have this flute player playing kaval flute, and he also plays synthesizer, and the drummer is like just insane. He can play cajon, he can play the timpan, which is this big drum with a bass kicker and a little like stick to beat it. I mean, I could just spend so much time, and I would love. I was on KKFI recently with Mark Manning for his show, the Wednesday Midday Medley, and he was like, if you'd like to come in as like a guest DJ sometime, that would be so interesting. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to share the music of all these different places.
Yeah.
So going in there and learning all this folklore music in different countries and really taking it to my heart and singing it and performing it and learning about why that's so important. And then I came back here and I started getting really interested in the roots music too. So I think Kansas has really helped expose me to a lot of the roots music from this region where I'm from. So that is kind of a roundabout way to get me really, I was always a little interested in it, but like I got much more curious. And I mean, I love like listening to old time music, especially. It's so interesting. And especially the heritage of old time music as this like pan-ethnic mixing pot of ideas, because I think when sometimes people think of old time music is just like some old white dude with a banjo. I mean, it's like an old anyone with a banjo,
right? Yeah,
and a fiddle. I mean, it comes from everywhere. I love like what is it? The Carolina Chocolate Drops. Rihanna Giddings. Their group is so cool because they're just showing like, hey, this music's for everyone. It's from everyone. It's not like some gate-kept thing that only people with really light skin can do. I mean, anyone can get involved in these old songs. For sure. They're from our heritage. They're from everywhere.
Well, and I think like earlier this season on the podcast, we had Jamogi on. And So Jamogi was bringing up that like the banjo is an instrument that came from Africa, right? Like it being in our folk music was because America here, we were the melting pot. We're the mixing pot, right?
Yeah.
And so, that folk music is a mixture from all of us.
Yeah.
I love Jamogi. What a shining light.
Right? For sure.
Wow. We were just at the Mixmaster over in Lawrence yesterday, and Jamogi was... we were doing this demo drop, and everyone played a minute of their demos anonymously, and Jamogi's came on, and everyone's like, what's this R&B stuff? And it was Jamogi's. This is good.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
it's so good, man.
So I've got a question for you. Do you still do street performances, or have you been interested in doing that here in Kansas City?
When I first came back, I attempted it. I found some places. I did one summer. I even paid the $20 for the season to be a street performer at the River Market.
Oh, okay.
The problem with street music. No, it's not the problem with street music. The problem with this country is that there are not enough walkable areas. Everyone drives everywhere, and street performers really need walkable spaces that are public areas where there's not a bunch of rent-a-cops telling you can't play here. So we need public spaces. In most other places in the world, there are a lot of public areas where a person can go and sit down and crack open a beer and just drink it, or smoke something, or just hang out, and no one's stopping them. And it's part of the culture to have these public squares and these open spaces where everyone can just go and not be an economic unit.
Right.
And just sit and hang out. And there's benches and there's beautiful parks where people just sit and hang out. And there's places where they're walking around just doing that. It's not all about commerce. I cannot go to Zona Rosa and set up my street music. I don't even want to go there. I don't want to hang out at Zona Rosa anyway. It's like this fake space. I'm sorry. I know that the intention is good to make a walkable area, but it's not the same. I mean, I did do some street music at like the Crossroads on the first Friday, but
I was gonna say Crossroads, or like I spend a good amount of time at the Nelson, and a lot of times I'll see like somebody performing at the Nelson.
Oh, okay.
Like just out
on
in the
street?
grounds or like on the street. Yeah, and so I don't know. Obviously, I'm not performing, so I don't know what the cost is to do that or things like that.
You're usually hired, though. That's the thing. It's
Is
you're
that hired?
You're usually hired by the building. You're hired by like with River Market, when are you performing Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, whenever there's public area.
And I wasn't aware that you had to pay to perform there.
Pay $20 for the whole year, which isn't.
That's not
bad,
but it's off-putting to me that you should have to.
That you have to pay to perform on the street.
Well, and it's like, we're talking about places in Kansas City that you can perform. You mentioned the Rhino. Like there's a lot of other venues. We've talked a lot about like what do you want to see from Kansas City? Like what is Kansas City missing? What do we need to do better? And so really what I'm hearing from you is that we need more public spaces for us to just exist and play music.
Yeah, and
like
hang out.
Yeah. Like we have parks. Like we have Loose Park. We have
Swope Park.
But then at the same time, like
out in Kansas, we got Circle Park out here. The Circle Park Trails, Shawnee Mission Park.
Wyandotte County Lake is also very
Wyandotte
beautiful.
County Lake,
right?
Park, the Blue River over there in where is that? Lee Summit? Is that where that is?
I think that is.
But-
Leewood and Lee Summit.
But I wouldn't. But I would say like out of all the places that we just mentioned, Loose Park is probably the most habitated. You're really kind of looking at like, if we're going to equate what you're looking for is almost like a Central Park situation of where this is kind of a central hub of like everybody kind of comes here to relax and enjoy like and exist. And like we don't really have that in the United States. We have like it's constantly hustle culture. Yeah. It's never like take a moment to relax. Like
you have to spend money to go out.
Out. Yeah.
Even when I think about like street performing in the United States, because it's very different from street performing in Europe or in any other country. When we think about street performers in the United States, we think about like generally those videos of people in the New York subway or in Chicago subway.
Yeah. Even then you have to pay a lot of time.
Yeah. And like, but like that's also, it's still not everybody's coming here to chill space. It's everybody is transient trying to get to where they need to go and just kind of hearing you on the way.
Yeah, what was that thing about the fiddle player who was like from the Philharmonic Orchestra playing in the subway in New York and no one stopped?
Nope.
And then they were selling out, like the tickets were like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disheartening. I mean, I think for me, when I had no money and I wasn't even able to get a job because I had no work permit, playing music on the street was a great way to practice, make friends, get a little bit of money, donations, and also just like, do something. Mm-hmm. Now, I can work. So part of the thing is like, since I can work and earn money, busking, it's just, I want to save that. I want to save my music for when it really matters to me. Because I've seen buskers just get tired and they go out and treat it like their day job and they're out there for 5 hours and they're mad if anyone gets in their spot. And they also, look like the grumpiest Gus in the world, and when they play, you can hear it, and you don't want to give them any money because they're just like angry or they're pushing themselves. You know, it's like it's just thirsty. You know, and I think I don't need to be that thirsty, and I start to see the value of playing fewer shows because more people will be like excited when your show comes up. If you play every week, then people will be like, I'll catch you next week, and then they never go, right?
Yeah, so, every show needs to be an event. Like that's one of the biggest things from like what I've heard from promoters in the Kansas City scene is just like make your show an event. It needs to be an event. You have to be picky about like where you allow, like have pride in your music.
Yeah.
And like there is a beauty of like being on a street corner and playing to people who walk past, and you know it like because it shows like you're not in this for the money. You're in this because you love playing and you want just people to hear it.
Yeah.
And make friends. Make it nice.
Making friends is a huge thing, like making connections, just passerbys.
It's a gift. And I wanted to just cite on what you were saying because I don't know when this is going to air. It might come out in a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks? Okay. So I do have an event coming up on the 18th. April 18th.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
it is an event because it's a psychedelic event. So just as an example, what I like to do, I am an event presenter occasionally. I like to make happenings, especially with psychedelic music and vibes. So my friend Jeremy Wan from Detroit is coming into town on tour, just released a record for their group, Wan Band, and they're going to come to Kansas City, and I offered to help set up the show. So I did what I like to do, and I contacted the easiest to reach venue that I have a connection to, which is my friend Grant, who has a house on Truce called the Inside Out House, which is awesome. It's a really cool space. It's a third space. It's not a business. It's not for profit or anything like that.
Right.
Which, nothing against that. I appreciate all y'all venues who have to earn money to pay your rent and stuff like that. And I understand, you know, you got to sell drinks, you got to sell things, and I appreciate that you exist, and I want you to thrive. But for me, it's just easy to do booking with my friend and make these events very quickly. With so I like to do these events there, and this is a happening. I think it's gonna be really cool. Mikhail Shapiro, who is in so many bands. But McCall's band, The Musical, will be playing with Chad Brothers, her partner, and Chad is in like a million cool bands too. Like was it Supermassive Black Holes and what's the other one that they're in? Old Sound, and they're in. And Chad's also like one of the station managers at KKFI, and McCall does also this really cool. Art with projectors and I don't remember the name of their company right now, but anyway, they're a really great band. Yeah. My band is going to play. Jeremy's band is going to play, and then we also have Hotel, which is this visualist who's doing all this really interesting like feedback. So especially we're interested in talking about doing something with the video on the performers and then affecting it and projecting it back onto the performers. This kind of really psychedelic kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're having it happening. It's going to be a safe space, all ages kind of show. Donations for the touring band. I don't really care to take money for myself. I explained that to everyone else. I'm like, hey, we want to get some gas in the car. We don't know how much. I'll sell some of my own merch, of course, but like I want to help.
You want to support the touring artists that are coming to Kansas City.
Yeah, because I know how it is, and like, not everyone's loaded, but we can at least make it a nice time. So that's coming up on the 18th. I just finished making a flyer for it where I was taking like some Victorian floral patterns and little cherubs and mushrooms, like a singing frog guy. And
incredible. That's perfect. Oh, so April 18th at the Inside Out House, you and several other amazing bands are coming. Someone from Detroit is coming, and it's going to be a big vibe. So you need to come out.
And it's all ages.
All ages. That's such a big deal.
The last episode, we talked about how we needed more all ages shows. Yeah. This is one.
Yeah.
Get your kids.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, we went to KCene last week, and we brought the two kids, and we had little kid mosh There was another family there who had brought there was another family who had brought their kids, and so we just all got in a little circle, and the kids were like little kid mosh, and they had so much fun. It was a Linkin
Park tribute.
Yeah,
so
it was
they
really
were
cute.
moshing, and
they were excited.
It was great.
They were so excited, and it was just like, because like when you're in your 30s and you have children are present, like you have to always like call for a babysitter. Like having an all ages shows, like it's really important.
A babysitter costs more than a ticket to the show,
right? And the kid would
rather be able to buy some merch,
right?
A t-shirt, or vinyl.
Yeah, exactly.
A child of any age is going to have way more of a of an experience in life enrichment by going to see performances, and
it only helps our scene further,
right? And also
Fans
like
for life.
Yeah, right. It's a kid. Like, that could be that kid's core memory of like, I remember when I went to that one show and I saw this music and I listened to it, and the guy just like really like, I don't know a single musician I've ever met who's like not had that moment when they're a kid. And I think it's really important that all ages shows should really exist, because the children and teenagers and like the younger generation is really what's going to drive the scene.
Absolutely. And that reminded me of another thing about busking, because many times as a street performer, one of my favorite things is when I'm playing and a child really wants to watch. And that feels so good. And it might be one of the first times I saw a musician playing in real life. And, all y'all kids, I know we had a terrible time where everyone got locked inside and all we could do is look at our screens. Oof. But the world is not on the screen, okay? No. This could be all AI. This might not even be real anymore. Go to a real place.
Hey,
be
we're
around
real.
People.
We're real. We right here are real.
Are real.
Yeah, like I have my QR code identifier. I don't know what we're gonna do to solve that problem of knowing what's real or what's fake. But I mean we've got a problem now, I think, with social spaces. We were talking about this at Mixmaster too, because there's so much talent in town. There's so many great artists, but people only want to go out for like Chappell Roan or Taylor Swift. They wouldn't go to Chappell Roan 5 years ago. They wouldn't give a crap. But now they do, because she's on the screens. So it's like they're giving so much importance to this person that they never will meet or even talk to. You come to our local show and you're going to talk to us, and you're going to meet people. You're going to make friends with the band. Being a fan of a band that you can actually hang out with is so much more fun than being a fan of a band that would never talk to you and never give you their phone number. You know, like you can be a real friend with bands and help them out. Really talented music. So don't sleep on it. Local shows. Kansas City's full of cool places and cool bands.
Right. And there's a lot of people that have started in Kansas City. I mean, Chappell actually went to Kansas City for a good chunk of time and was performing. Like you never know what band you're going to hear on the side of the street while you're walking down the plaza, and all of a sudden you hear, or walking down like at Power and Light, and you hear this band, or Westport, or wherever, and you hear this sound, and you're like, oh, that's pretty good. And you walk inside, and then you find out about this, like, but then you get to talk to them, and having that person to person interaction where this person is, larger than life. Like a lot of people pay thousands or hundreds of dollars to meet these people they are not going to ever share maybe 5 seconds of words with, rather than and then they have this parasocial relationship where they have a podcast that they can watch where their favorite artist is on, and they can humanize them just a little bit. But there's so much acting that goes into that. Yeah. Like getting to know someone on a personal level and getting to cultivate a relationship with them in person, and then getting to talk about their philosophy with like, why did you create the music that you did? Like that's one of my favorite things about like performing is getting to perform with other artists and like hearing their music and asking them about like that one specific song that you wrote, that like what is that about? Because I listened to those lyrics and like they really like touched me, and you didn't get a chance to elaborate on it because you have a 30-minute set. Right. What was that about? And then next thing you know, it's like, well, I was really going through a lot about 3 years ago, and it goes down this like list of things, and immediately you get to know this person so much better, and like it changes your entire outlook on the music, on everything. And unless you get to have that person-to-person conversation, Like, you are so right. That is the purpose of local shows. That is the purpose of music, is that you can see these people trying to make it, trying to do the thing. But the whole thing is just like doing music, because that is why we're here. Is that music is what drives us, is because we can't do anything else. And
yeah, we don't need to become famous. We just want to be supported, and we feel like our contribution is valued.
Right. Right. And I think that, oh, go ahead. You're excited. Go.
No, it's all good. So, yeah, all I was going to say on there was like, when I talk to like some of my friends that are in their like 50s or 60s, and they talk about like going to shows in their 20s or 30s, it's always like, oh, I went to this band that like nobody knew who they were, and then they blew up. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's what, like, when we're all older, that's what we remember, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, not necessarily going and seeing somebody at their peak, but like, oh man, I knew them before they were cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to do that, you got to go to local shows.
Yeah, you got to go fishing, right?
You got to go fishing.
You're not going to catch that big fish if you're casting a reel for a big fish. You might not catch anything, but if you're just casting for the little fish, you're going to get something.
Right. I mean, maybe you're gonna build more meaningful relationships. I mean, like, just like at the start of this episode for the podcast, like, we asked you about The Longest Night. Mm-hmm. Because like that was like I listened to The Longest Night, but I also listened to Dropping Leaves, Setting Sun, and it just like I'm a big horror movie fanatic.
Yeah.
So like The Longest Night really felt like I was watching a horror movie, and I could like it was a little bit of like
more cinematic,
and the way that it kind of sounded like glitchy at parts, like gave you kind of that same like thriller, uncomfy feeling. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
but
I really liked that, and so I wanted to ask about it, right? And so if anybody else had like other questions, right, like they don't get to ask those unless they come see you, right?
Well. And also, like, from you being on this podcast, right? We talked about your background, like what you've been through as a person. Like,
I didn't know that at all
now
before.
Putting those parallels together and listening to your music, like, I can only imagine you writing The Longest Night, like, and you have all these like soundscapes and all these moments. If you're living in the forest, if there is like no shelter around you, like, if you're not careful. Like, there are so many variables. Like, you have to constantly be in survival mode all the time. Like, and I'm sure that had a lot of influence for the choices that you made instrumentally. Same with like all of your music. Like, there are specifics. I can tell that you're an intentional artist. There are specific things that you choose in your escapes. You're not just like going like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you have moments where you're like, yeah, man, that sounds really good. I want to put that in there, like everybody. But also at the same time, I can tell that you're the kind of person that's just like, I really want this long tone here because it reminds me of this feeling that I felt when you're comparing the lyrics, and you're like I can tell that you're building these scapes purposefully, and it really has everything to do with what you've been through as a person. And I would have never known that if we wouldn't have talked.
It does kind of change. It changes
everything.
It changes the way you hear the music.
Yeah,
that really reminds me because so. I released quite a few albums at the beginning of my project. I had a real run of albums. I released Sour Mash with my band. We recorded on a 4-track in like 2011, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And I released very quickly after that a number of projects. And then when I left the country, I was in Ireland, and I remember I released like this album by myself, which was the first Dandelion Lakewood album, kind of EP with 5 songs. And it also has some noisy things and some droney things and some songs I really, really enjoy. And then it was nothing for a long time because I didn't have access to a studio. I did in Switzerland get to record the basis for one of my songs, Mauna Avakea, which took a long time to finally release because I just didn't have a home. I mean, I was home full, let's say. I had a lot of places to stay, but I didn't have a studio.
Right. But the music never left you, right? It was always cultivating. Yeah. You're always getting experiences, and like what am I trying to say? The way that I'm trying to say it is like, I took in college, I have a music major. Like we took this class called Music of the World's Cultures, and we learned about all these different like musical styles of like outside of Western music, which is what as an American, like what we're like standardized to. But there's so many other cultures, and you got to fully experience that. You got the Beatles experience. Like you're like, I'm going to travel there, and I'm going to I'm going to travel and get the influences, and it really shows in your musical choices and your styles, but then you're able to kind of like blend everything together. But like with your songwriting and with your choices that you make, they are intentional and they come across as such.
So I wanted to bring this up because I was getting to this in a long-winded way. I wanted to talk about this one song that I released. Yeah. After I hadn't released anything for a long time, I finally I was staying in Albania, and I was after a gathering with some friends where we were camping for a month on this beach and like living basically in this olive grove and cooking on fire every night and sharing food and music, and everyone left. And I had made my home in this Albanian military bunker on the beach. And it was this little bunker, and I had built it out with tarps around it. I had a little kitchen and a couch that I dug in the ground and found some cushions, and I had this little fireplace. And I would sleep in the bunker, and then I would have my little sitting area. And I was alone after everyone left, and I really wanted to be alone because I was always around people. Traveling, you're basically around people so much. When you don't have your own place, you don't have money to get a hotel room, you have to be a guest.
Yep.
And you have to be around people. So I was always fighting for my alone time for like almost a decade. And this was a time when everyone left, and I was so happy to just be alone. And I was just enjoying my days putzing around and just on this beach and getting food from the village every walk to the village every week, or take a bus to the bigger city sometimes to get more supplies and get money from the ATM, because the ATM was really like a 40-minute bus ride away.
Yeah.
And I had it. So one night I just was feeling really sad and alone, and I felt like no one cared and I didn't matter. And I wrote this song improvisational called Going My Way. And so it's like the first song I really released after all this time. It was this improvisational song. I was in the bunker alone. You can hear the waves. I just with this little recorder, and I just improvised this song with just really a lot of feeling really sad and lonely. And I made this really long. It's like probably almost 10-minute long song, just improvising with the acoustic guitar and voice and lyrics. And when I listen to it, I'm just really transported back to being there, especially with headphones. And being in that moment, I mean, it's such a sad boy song, but people like that kind of stuff. And it's just what you were talking about, where were you in this time? I mean, in that song, I was really I wanted to be alone. I wanted everyone to be gone. And then finally I had that for a few months. I was alone. And I enjoyed it, but also in moments it was really painful. And so I made this song. And it's just this relic. It's like, who will ever listen to this? It's so sad.
Oh, absolutely. No, why does emo music exist? Why does darkness exist? Because what is music for? And in my opinion, as a musician, it's to help people feel like they're not alone. That's why we make music, is so it comes from our soul. And if you're feeling that way, there's somebody else who can relate to those lyrics about feeling alone, feeling lonely. That is a very a lot of your music talks about isolation. It talks about everything that you've been through, and there is somebody out there who can hear that and relate. Don't ever judge yourself for being it's a bunch of sad boy stuff. That is literally all the shit that I write. That's just what I mean. But at the same time, that, if that's how you feel, don't soften it. Be raw.
Somebody else will have a similar feeling in life. All of us, as much as we are all individuals, we all have different experiences. We all can relate. And so music really can be that medicine during the dark times, when you're really feeling it.
Yep.
And then you hear something that you can relate to, and you're like, I'm not alone.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel ya. I'm curious what your band is.
I'm in a pop punk band. We're called Landlocked with a V instead of an A.
Okay. I've heard of you guys.
Yeah,
Cool.
we write sad boy emo music. But but like as like we're talking about just being a musician in general. Like why did you turn to music in that time? And it's because you wanted like your soul felt like it needed to, there's that's what people listen to music for. Like some of the best music that exists are things that have been recorded when people were going through so much. Like Alice in Chains in a nutshell. They were stuck inside of a studio for a year. Like they didn't have money. They stayed in a studio and made that entire album.
A music studio or a studio apartment?
Like I'm pretty sure they stayed in the studio because they didn't have money. Like they didn't have and that album was made out of desperation. It was made out of feeling. Like that is what music is for, is to express yourself. And like talk about AI, talk about computers, talk about like technology. Like it'll never quite replace the human soul
because they can't experience hardship the same way we do.
Right.
No.
Right.
When will the AI really struggle and have a hard time and feels like it wants to give up and quit and just check out on life?
It's made to
when
be
somebody
perfect.
turns the power off.
That's true.
I'm just thinking of HAL 9000 in 2001: A Space Odyssey, pulling out those cards.
It is. Yeah. I literally, as a point here, music is a medicine during dark times and personal growth, and like that's what it's for. So like, I think if anything, like keep doing what you are doing. Like you are doing something really powerful, and like never stop sharing your story. Like. What a story you have.
If you had any advice for local musicians here in Kansas City, what is it?
Well, I think I had to learn a lot. Coming back from traveling was a real shock to me, not only culturally, being back in the States suddenly, and like how much water is in a toilet, for example, is one thing, and how much we drive, and how much everything costs. But also, being on the road, I was able to forge really fast friendships with people that were extremely potent and long-lasting because we had nothing else to do. We would show up in a place and we'd be camping in a forest for a month, see each other every day, all day, interacting, playing music, hanging out, cooking together, living a functional community life. And or going on a journey, hitchhiking together, playing street music every night, trying to find a place to sleep. And this forges these really powerful bonds that you cannot take for granted. Because when I came back here, I was like, why am I not making those connections with anyone here? Why is that not happening? It's because I'm not having those kinds of experiences with people here. It takes so much more time. Building that community, it takes a long time. So it's taken me 3 years to really seeing people. Like I'll see this person once every couple months, but it's almost like you need touch points with people, and there's a certain number of touch points with a person before they actually give a crap who you are.
3 times.
Is it?
I have a 3-episode anime rule in my head, right? I'm such a nerd. Like the first time you meet somebody, you're like, all right, cool. But it also kind of depends on how much time you speak to them.
Yeah.
Second time is just like, okay, more familiar. Let's see if your mask drops. And then third time is just like, okay, I feel like I've filled you out enough to like see if I can trust and like you're safe to be around. And like it takes people, especially in the United States, I think there's such an individualistic approach to how you speak and how you talk to people that like we really kind of vet people in our heads before we fully trust them.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot to be suspicious of. I mean,
that's
inundated with lies.
Yeah, that's more the thing. Propaganda runs deep.
Yeah,
but I think for me, it's not necessarily a 3-episode thing. I mean, I myself am a very genuine person. Like I'm gonna like I don't put on a mask when I meet somebody. I'm genuinely myself, and when I run into somebody who also is genuinely themselves, it just makes sense. Like your energies click.
I guess
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess like I'm genuinely myself. Like, but there is a like the music thing, right? What we do, it's a combination of like you are being genuinely yourself because this is what you're passionate about, and so you could talk with somebody about what you love all day.
Right.
And then there's
But
also
there's
this
also a performance.
this performance business aspect.
being a performer.
And what I'm saying is just like, yes, I'm on and I'm happy and I'm super excited to talk to you, but then when it's off, when I can be
I see what you're saying.
when I can be not in that light, when I can relax, when I can be low, like, will you like me at that? Will you know? And that's the hard thing about it. And like what you're saying is like, so essentially, if I can piece together what you're trying to pull, is that Kansas City needs a stronger community of people who are doing the same thing like we are, who care about music, who love music, and we need to band together and be closer and create more intimate relationships and reach out more and try harder to create a community rather than being so individualistic and set on our own ideals and what we want as people.
Yeah, because it's really challenging. For example, working a day job, and then you come home and you're already tired.
Yep.
And then you have your friends show, and you might have 2 or 3 friends shows, and end up choosing not to go to any of them because you're exhausted. This happens to me so many times. Like last night, there was an event. I like to go to Rural Grit when I have energy, which is on Monday nights at the Brick. Really cool.
Ooh.
If you're in Kansas City,
Brick?
like
Nice.
roots music. I mean, the Brick. You can get a $10 meal that's
Yep.
like got a cake, chocolate
And
cake,
she's great.
and a salad.
And she's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah,
The owner of the Brick.
absolutely.
She's great.
What a gem of a place. And Monday nights, Rural Grit. It's cool. It's like roots music. All kinds of different folks coming in there. You'll see like
that's what I was telling you. Yeah.
You know, you'll see all kinds of characters about town in that place. It is a happening place. I love it, but I don't always have energy. Tonight, Rhino, and also Rhino has an open mic on Tuesdays and Mondays. Song Lab, Ben hosts it. Awesome. I don't have energy always to go and listen to everyone's songs for 3 hours because I might need to sit home and write my own. You know, it's like there's so many. I wish I could go to everyone's show that I admire because I do, but then I feel guilty when I don't. But I also need to nurture myself. So trying to not overextend, make it count, right? Like, do go out, do go to events, but also don't be butthurt when people don't go to your event because they're tired too, and don't be guilty feeling if you can't go because you're tired. Everyone needs to recharge. So it's kind of like we need to support each other, but also not overextend each other, and also be really forgiving, like. Honestly, I like it when my friends come to my show, but I'm more excited when it's a bunch of strangers. And I think what we really want to do is be a good audience member. Like, if you don't play music, especially, come and support. For musicians, support for sure, but also don't overextend. I feel like the best thing musicians can do is also to curate each other and just say, "Hey, I can't make it, but all of y'all check this out," and
you
just
should go.
Pass it along,
share it,
and
repost it. Yeah.
You know, I have a list of shows all the time, and there's what is it? New Noise Kansas City. This Reddit or Discord channel, and there's one channel where Corey Dies in the End, always posting like every show that he can find for the day. There's no way he's going to everything. I know Daisy might go to everything.
That's so true. Daisy would go to everything. Daisy would pop into something like, "I'll be here for a second." Yeah.
Or doing the what is it? Crochet.
Yeah.
No.
Sewing.
What is it called?
She does sewing.
The embroidery. Yeah, Daisy's embroidery scarf.
Yeah.
She would always doing that. It's so cool. And filming.
Yeah.
Like every
with
show.
With 2 different phones.
That she goes to.
Two
It's
phones,
so cool.
2 angles.
She got 2 phones, one for the plug, one for the load.
And embroidering.
She's such a doll. But you know, I mean, you're so right. Like, the thing about being in our economy is like, if you really want to be a full-time musician, it is a grind, couch surfing, living with your parents. If you want to be self-sustaining at all, you have to have a full-time job. And then if you work band. Or a cover band,
wedding band,
or like Monday through Friday, like, what is your full-time? If you have it also benefits, health insurance if you have children, like, and then you have Saturday and Sundays that are usually free, and that's whenever you have the spoons to go.
Right, and that's also when the family time is. And,
right,
and
all ages shows everything's hard. Yeah, and
the
dishes,
household chores.
all the dishes.
I know, I got a pile of clothes on my chair there. That's just.
We understand. There's laundry. There was laundry in the living room when you came here.
Yeah, if you saw when you were walking through, we've got a bunch of folks.
Laundry we call it laundry getting.
You didn't notice?
Laundry getting, dish getting.
Yeah, just to prepare for it. Yeah. This is more important.
When we were full time, but at the same time,
we were supporting friends. Like this weekend, we went to a show. We went to a couple shows.
What were they?
It's Stratgazer, the show at Westport Bowery. It's a rock show.
We saw Fritzy, Atypical, and a few other bands. I'm forgetting who all was on the bill. There were like 4 or 5 bands on the bill. And then we, of course, saw KCene on Thursday.
Yeah.
Ended up going and seeing Comic-Con and just seeing a bunch of like
Elijah Wood?
And seeing a bunch of
wisdom.
Saw DJ Joe was out there too. DJ Joe and DJ Ice Cole. They're a couple, and he'll play drums while his wife is mixing.
Okay, like hand drums or drum set?
No, like he has an actual full-on drum set, has it all mic'd up,
cool.
And while she's going ahead and mixing something, he's just going, all right, what are we going into? All right, I'm going to match it with drums. And they'll take out the drum stem, and he'll just play drums.
Oh,
and so it's crazy.
So he'll be a live drummer the rest of the track.
Yep.
Because that's what we're missing a lot of time. I mean, I love, like, performing solo. There's times when I've tried to do, like, have an Ableton set and play along with it. Mm-hmm. But it just feels so... I feel better just to play one instrument and sing with it, because having everything in the can, it just doesn't feel fresh.
Right.
And when you have a real drummer in the room playing real drums, that just hits so much differently
than
hits in the electronic
chest.
Drums. All right, like a drum machine can sound really cool.
Yep.
I think for me the line is, if it's a drum machine, I'm down with it on the speakers. But if it's like real drum sounds and I don't see a real drum set, I just would rather them take the drum sounds out.
Right.
You know, like you don't need it. I don't know. It's like, I don't want to shame makeup, but like sometimes people they look really good. They don't need as much. You know, I mean, I think it's cool to like dress up, like make a costume for yourself, but I think also it's like a confidence issue for people where it's like, I need to have all these tracks or else it won't be good. It's like, I don't care if it sounds like you're recording. Mine doesn't. I just want to see you be you, you know? Like, I want to see you.
I want to see the art.
I don't need the foundation all over making you have the acne that you're covering with the foundation. You know? Like, I just want to see your face. I love it. I don't care if you have zits. You know? Like, I don't know. I mean...
Amen.
Makeup's cool. Like, it's a fun medium, and I get it that people like it. I don't want to, like, be one of those dudes like, I don't want to make... You know? Like, I don't want to be that. But I want people to love themselves. And also with their music, like, it don't have to be perfect. Isn't that the reason, like, a lot of people don't even try making music? Because they just, like, listen to all this auto-tune bullshit, and it's all been, like, you know, like, Billie Eilish, great, but some of her tracks is, like, 90 takes, and they comp all the vocals. All right, good on you. That's very OCD, but very cool sounding. But I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to micro-edit that much. It's because it's just, like...
I love music that's authentic, that was done in like a couple of takes. The imperfection, there's beauty in that, and it's authentic.
Like Adrian Lenker's music, you can really hear some flubs and stuff, and you're like, wow, but they're so good.
One of my favorite artists is called Puccini's Pizza. They have a song called Naruto Theme 16, and it's... Let me elaborate. And there's a song, and he's talking about loss, and it's such bad singing, and it's a really pretty like guitar part, and like it just, I don't fucking care how he sounds. Like I know that he was in that studio like 3 feet away from a mic, and he's just singing because he's just feeling, and like that's powerful. And
that's good to know, because I just was rewatching a performance clip of mine, and I was like, I'm so out of key. But maybe
who cares?
Someone like you will watch it and be like,
no, who cares? Who cares? I mean,
I was so driven by the nerves. There's like, I was pushing it out, and like the tones were just not. You know, it was like I was like on fire, and it was like burning it up my vocals.
I would, if you are feeling every bit. nothing is more powerful than seeing someone who is putting their all into something and who is feeling every bit of it than someone who is just consistently opening their eyes, looking around, seeing who's watching them, trying to be this person that they're not. Like, you know, the difference between a performance and someone giving their soul.
That's why I don't listen to hardcore music, but when I go to a hardcore show, I'm like, yes. It's like you feel it, like, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
feel
music.
the emotion, and like that's the whole reason that people listen to that type of music, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I grew up with emo music, right? Like that was my bread and butter, what I was listening
Dashboard
to.
Confessionally, like
Yeah, My Chemical Romance, yeah, like all that stuff, and so, like for me, yeah, it was hearing the emotion is what drove me towards that music. Yeah. Like without being able to feel the emotion, it's not the same. Like hearing somebody do a cover and like I don't know, I think we had this discussion not too long ago about like the style of singing that they do sometimes where they're introducing that tension because it allows for the emotion rather than just clean singing, right? And so like if I've heard some of the music before, just a full clean cover and acoustic, and I'm like, that doesn't hit the same.
Right.
Like, I like acoustic covers of a lot of music, but when it's just clean and the emotion's not there, it's just clean notes, it's like, technical. No. Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
He grew up with that. I have a church background. I grew up in the church. I'm not religious anymore, but like,
I've been there.
Yeah,
evangelical trauma.
Pentecostal.
Everyone's going to hell.
And
we can save them.
Right, but like, I grew up where music comes from your soul, right? Like I grew up where music always comes from your soul. Like the words like that you're singing, that you're like the praise and worship, like that is the intention.
Yeah.
Like. Right. Respect. But like that's the intention of like of creating that kind of music, is that like you are really not singing for yourself. You're singing because you feel led to. And I like there's this performative aspect that I think a lot of artists get wrapped in their heads, is that they're like, oh, well, I have to sound like this because of this and because this is what's popular. And it's really all about, at the back of their heads, I think they want to be famous. That's not why you make music, though.
That's like, I know, like going to a church and then a choir. Everyone needs to blend their voices, but then sometimes there's that one worship leader who will be like, "And I love the Lord."
Yeah.
It's like, chill out. You're not going to get an award for this. We're all supposed to blend together.
Right. Well, but like there's a lot of clips from I've talked to a lot of friends in the past who have had who grew up in church, and you listen to a gospel choir. It invokes feeling inside of you because they are so invested and their souls are pouring out, and it's beautiful. And because and they're singing as loud as possible. They're wailing, and it's because they are not thinking about the product. They're not trying to be perfect. They're trying to sing from their soul. And I think that like that's what music should be, is where you're not performing. You're performing for a higher thing.
Yeah.
The thing that you should be performing for is not yourself. Remove yourself from the equation. You're performing so other people. Well, actually, I think everybody has their own reason why, but at least like I can get a sense from you, like the reason why you make music is because it is your way to exist in the world.
Yeah, and also
Make
like
sense
what you're
of it.
saying, like, I mean, the choir thing is so interesting because I feel like when you're singing for just to be like, I'm great, no one likes that. But if you're singing like, hey everybody, we're all great, and everyone's like, yeah, so it's almost like
a community.
Your ego can just transcend yourself and encompass everyone around you like a big warm hug. Everyone feels good about that. It's like, my ego got so big that you're all included. Right. I have such a big ego. Welcome in. It's like a big tent, like the parachute game.
Yep.
And I'm doing Well, do you know Beth Watts Nelson has this notorious chorus, which is a choir that meets at the Stockyard Brewery. I think they're starting even this week every Wednesday, and it's a choir, but it's all it's not religious, and Beth is an amazing choir director. She did it for years in junior high school, and now is teaching adults. And it's so cool. I've done it quite a lot of times with my partner Clover. We've gone. We haven't gone recently because we're working in schools, which you just don't have.
I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. I understand.
Children just
you love them. You would do anything for them, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you want to conk out at 9:30. Yep.
They take it all. So, but I mean, that choir is so cool. And I think singing in a choir together, a lot of people have trauma about sharing their voice. They don't want anyone to hear their voice. They don't want to sing. But in a choir, you can blend in and be a little bit anonymous and sing with people. It feels so good. Like, you feel other people's voices going into your chest cavity. It's so powerful. It's like the air is vibrating with all the mix, and it's coming inside. Like, have you ever had that happen where you sing with someone, you feel their voice inside?
The overtones, the feelings of it's powerful. Kind of like wrapping everything up, right? We were like your biggest thing and the thing that you're trying to explain of like, what does Kansas City need to do? It needs to create community. It needs to create an overabundance of how can I help you? How can we create together?
Mutual aid.
Well, it was the like putting the ego aside. I love what you said about the like choir. Like, hey, it's not like singing for my ego. It's, hey, welcome into my big ego. You're all a part of it. Like, it's our ego. Yeah. And so, like, having. I mean, we've got. When I think of Kansas City, we've got like the whole Made in KC store. There's a lot of like Kansas City pride that we have. Mm-hmm. So then why as Kansas City musicians would we be, it's all about me instead of it's all about Kansas City musicians as a whole.
Yeah, we're scrambling. I mean, we're taught that we need to post all this stuff on the algorithm to get exposure. And it's kind of true because it's just a weird thing. It's like, because there's so much stuff, you have to make so much stuff, which makes more stuff, which makes it it's like just a deluge of material.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, the internet is useful, but face to face, like, we need those third spaces where people go regularly and check in with each other.
So to go ahead and call it out, there is a Music Maker Monday that happens like
every Monday.
Yes, from Mana Records.
First Monday of every month.
This coming up for
next
week.
Episode,
it's next week. So
shout out to Sean.
Yeah. Yes.
Very cool, man.
Amazing
it's
event.
It's a great networking event. I mean, because you get to meet other people in the industry who are doing maybe not even what you're doing, but
not
like
same genre,
like where you can connect. And the thing about like a lot of like with like issues with genre blending in Kansas City is there's always just like singular genre bills and not enough multi. Yeah. And like, I find the most fulfillment connecting with other artists and talking to them about their journeys, and then also collaborating them musically.
Mm-hmm. I want to do a show with Z_.
Oh, she's wonderful.
I want to do a show with Z.
Her and I used to work out together. Like, no, we're good for. I love her very much. She's wonderful. Yeah,
she's so cool.
She is, and she's a really like down to earth person, and like seeing her in like a relaxed. She is, and seeing her like, but like I've gotten to have a lot of just. She's someone that I met randomly at like kind of like an artist collaboration event that I was hosting, that then we went to this to Liberated Grounds, like this camping thing. Like it was part of kind of like a retreat for other artists to like network and get to know each other, and it was like kind of like talking about building equity and like on property, and also like talking about building community for artists. And I got to know
that.
You would probably awesome. You should really get into Liberated Grounds. You would be really into that.
What is it called?
Liberated Grounds.
Liberated Grounds.
Yeah, ask them about it. But met her through that, and then like from there, like she became someone I regularly see, and like I would reach out, like we would collaborate. Turned out, and we'd like. I mean, we had a lot of mutual friends, and like as her like philosophy in life, I was like, I really like this person. We're just so she's working full time at an engineering firm now,
right? And she's traveling.
She's really busy all the time now. But right before she got that job, like I taught her like 2 voice lessons, and we were working out together, and like we got to like eat together and like just talk about
so
life.
cool.
Like she's like, for example, if I would have never made that connection of just like going to that, where I was doing like an open mic, like hosting that event, and she just came, like, that is the point in my like, what I'm trying to say is like, I find more fulfillment in that of creating these connections and relationships and community building than playing the social media game, because
It's much more lasting.
Right.
But to kind of speak to the social media game, the whole point of the social media game is to drive people to that community.
Right, like to get them to raise awareness.
Right. And so, like, the only reason, like, personally, the only reason I play the social media game, because you know my stance.
Yeah.
I hate social media.
We all have to do it here. It's, I mean, it brings people to your community, and the whole point is to help people feel like they're not alone.
Yeah.
And so
maybe feeling alone without social media, like the social media keeps people from going out because they feel like they're not alone, but it's like
social media is the most antisocial.
Substitute. It's like, I just saw a bunch of people talking at me, and it's like, you could have been talking to real people if you just went somewhere. What about Broadway Cafe or some coffee shop? Any of them, there's so many great. I don't drink caffeine, but I like non-caffeinated coffee or other things, and getting out. I mean, we could go on forever, but I know we got to wrap it up at some point.
Yeah.
But that for artists guys in Kansas City area and in Lawrence, there are these events for networking and meeting. Like you mentioned you mentioned a few. I was at the Mixmaster just yesterday. There's all these things. Folk Alliance. There's all of these opportunities. And I'll tell you, sometimes I go to these events and it's just like there's maybe 10 or 15 people.
Right.
And there's room for 100. I know there's more, and I know you all are busy. Going to these events, meeting people in your craft, building that solidarity networks and mutual aid. And
it is all about who you know, because those people, because the people who are really making the real art are working together at the top. They're not. They're collaborating. They are not working against each other.
You're not going to do it solo. You gotta build community.
Even a beef is. I mean, Kanye and Drake, they probably planned that. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all this
like wrestling,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. No. Actually, it really is.
It is.
It's basically like, okay, SmackDown versus Raw. We got like Triple H is in the background writing down all these scripts. That's what's happening.
I had Left on Red on earlier this season, and they're a rock band out of Columbia, Missouri, and they talked about, all right, so to be relevant on social media, like, who are we going to beef with? And so, like, they decided to go ahead and they're like, we're just going to message Trapped and see if that works. Oh, he's beefing back with us. All right, perfect. And so, like,
it gets attention, right?
Right.
Just like in school.
Discord gets more attention. So, yeah, unfortunately. But, guys.
That's not advice.
That's definitely not advice. Let's not do it. Let's not do that.
Beef, like for example, some friends of mine do this event. It's called Totally Not Fake Wrestling every October, and it's so wild. It's like they have these wrestling matches that are completely fake. One of them last year was like the Golden Girls versus the Golden Corral, and so they had all the members of the Golden Girls fighting the buffet Golden Corral.
Yeah,
and it's like they just have it's this crazy scripted comedy of wrestling in a ring with the real moves, but not like extreme.
That sounds like something the KC Fringe Festival would put on.
I mean, it's like something wild.
Yeah.
Joe Buckley does amazing stuff
I love
with
it.
that, and also like other people. All the participants are just amazing.
Yeah.
People. The Weinmans. I mean, Dimension Bill Edwards. There's so many great musicians and talented people in this town. Ever since I was young, I remember hanging out and seeing groups like Shun, Cody Critchlow, like all these people were doing amazing things. The art scene back then too, 26 years ago. So
Yep.
It's here. Just
go
find it
together.
Go find it.
Well, and Danny, thank you so much for being here and for, spending your time and your afternoon with us with your busy teacher schedule. And I hope you can go home and have good sleep.
Relax.
But yeah, you can definitely go follow Dandelion Lakewood at Dandelion Lakewood, and you can follow us at KCene Podcast.
KCene Official.
Yeah, KCene Official. Do you have any other social media or anything?
Bowl of Dust is also like I have 2 Instagrams. So one's for Dandelion Lakewood, which is like my official one, but the Bowl of Dust one is more a longer running, more connected one. So definitely check out Bowl of Dust on all of the stuff. And then I've got YouTube. I'm on all those streaming platforms and Bandcamp. I have a website, bowlofdust.com. And that's the majority of it. I mean, you can search your fancy.
And remember that on April 18th, there is an event. You guys need to go.
Yep.
It's
Inside Out House?
Inside Out House, which is a very cool all-ages space, safe space, and it's going to be really interesting, psychedelic vibes, cool visualizations. Dress up.
You might even see us there.
Yeah.
So
Kids, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yep. Safe space.
So, yeah, it'll be great, and we'll catch you on the next episode. What's up, Kansas City? If you love getting the real story straight from our local artists every other week on KCene, do me a solid and please hit that Patreon link at patreon.com/KCene. Turning this podcast into my full-time gig means leaning on your support more than ever. Every contribution, starting with just a few bucks a month, helps keep these interviews coming, pushes the scene forward, and unlocks the tiers we've got rolling now with some exclusive extras. We've got nothing but love for the 816 or 913 scene. Appreciate you all jamming with us.